Hey everybody, this is Maze1370, and we're here for a 8-4 Dragon Maze Gatecrash Return to Ravnica draft. Looking at this pack, I think the cards that stand out are the rare Renegade Krasis, which I believe is pretty strong, but I've never actually played with it. Haunter of Nightvale I have experience with and I like quite a bit. He's very strong. Unflinching Courage seems pretty absurd, and I think it's probably the pick here. Renegade Krasis seems pretty decent. I think you can pretty reliably evolve it once or twice, and if you do that, then you might be able to evolve some other critters. I just don't know how good of a strategy like multiple evolved guys is in the new full block draft, since you're just not going to get any in the third pack. It seems hard to go straight Simic, unlike it was in Triple Gatecrash. Haunter of the Nightvale is very good, but I have less experience with Unflinching Courage, so I'm going to take that here, just to kind of increase my exposure to the set. What else do we have? Maze Glider is fine but not exciting. Same deal with Steeple Rock. Nivik Cyclops I think is okay, but I've never just been a huge fan of the combo-y nature of the Izzet Guild, so I tend not to take these unless there's nothing else. Speaking of, okay, well, we got a foil Scion of Vidigazi, which looks pretty sweet, and I think we're taking that. I think it's a very strong follow-up to our Unflinching Courage pick. Scion of Vidigazi seems like a pretty gross card. It looks like they took whatever their rare / mythic was instead of it. We're pretty happy to get this. It means it's probably likely that they're not in white, although you do never know, given the fact that they could have taken pretty much any rare or mythic, many of which are white or green-white. What else do we have in this pack? We have another Debt to the Deathless. There's a Blast of Genius. A Warped Physique is very good. And maybe Boros Mastiff will table, or perhaps the Selesnya Guildgate. But yeah, we're definitely taking Scion here for sure. This pack is much less exciting than the previous packs. Woodlit Crawler is a fine card, but it's not in the colors that we've taken so far. I don't know if it's the best card in this pack. I think it probably is. Yeah, it just has no synergy whatsoever with what we've taken at this point. Dimir Guildgate is a Guildgate that, again, doesn't really share any of the colors of what we've done, or of what we've taken so far, but yeah, I guess we'll just take the Woodlit Crawler. It's the best card in this pack. Overall, this pack is pretty weak. We don't really want either of these Cluestones, I don't believe. I guess we could take Sunspire Gatekeepers or maybe the Cerulean Gatekeepers to stay on color, but I don't want to, commit to green-white just now. And, these guys likely will table, or at least one of them probably will. So, yeah, sure, we'll take Woodlit Crawler, even though it's not very likely to make our final deck. Alright, well we have another Dimir Guildgate. There's a Maze Behemoth. Not a huge fan of that card. Hazardous Snare Squad is fine. Deputy of Acquittals is quite sweet. I like it a lot. Possibility Storm is not a real card. This thing is awful. Don't play it. Mind Static is more playable than I gave it credit for during the set review and in my first couple drafts, but it's just still very clunky. 4 mana for a counterspell is not what you want to be doing. 3 mana is much more appealing. More Burst is fine, but not really in the colors that we're looking at. Could just take the Snare Squad or Deputy of Acquittals. I don't know how aggro-ish we're going to be, but yeah, I guess this at least keeps us on color for now. Interesting. So here's a Zertod Druid. We could maybe do green, white, red if we wanted to. I've heard the wisdom is that you want to draft 2 guilds if at all possible. I don't know how reliably one is able to do that, especially at an 8-4 table where people are a little more savvy about taking the good cards. I think I've maybe done it in like 1 or 2 drafts. It seems just the cards are not always there. Flux Charger is a fine man, but again, I don't really like doing the Izzet thing. I guess this is probably a signal that Izzet might be open. We saw the Blast of Genius go by, and now a Nivik Cyclops and a Flux Charger, but I really don't care for Izzet. And Zertod Druid is good, and I like him a lot, and he goes with some of the green we have. Alright, well here's a Feral Animist. This guy I think will go well with our deck. We have, I guess I also could take a Boros Mastiff. Let's hide this. So the question is at this point, do I want to look to be Gruul or Selesnya? And we do have a lot of white, so we definitely want to be white. We can grab Selesnya cards in pack 3, and I guess we could get Gruul cards in pack 2. I think the Feral Animist is nice with our deck just because we have the Unflinching Courage, so putting that on him could lead to some pretty hilarious results. Boar's Mastiff is pretty solid, though. Yeah, I'm just going to keep trying to cut white. We don't necessarily have to be Gruul. We could do Boros or something too. So we have Steeple Rock here. Down and dirty. There's a Selesnya Cluestone. I guess maybe I'll take that. I mean, Steeple Rock is fine, but we don't have any fixing yet, and we might need some. And so I'm going to take it while I can. It looks like the Guild Gates have already vanished from this pack. Here's another Boros Mastiff. This one I will take. Cluestone is not something we want. Someone's grabbing all of the Guild Gates because we just have not been seeing very many. The ones we have seen are unfortunately not really in the colors that we're looking to do, which is kind of frustrating for me. It seems to happen a lot in this format. Riot Piker is not really playable. I haven't really seen Bread of the Hunt used for good effect. Boros Mastiff is fine. Alright, so this is our opening pack. There's another Selesnya Cluestone, which I guess we could just take. We're not running Death to the Deathless, and I'm not a big fan of Maze Sentinel. Mutant's Prey is not what we're looking to do. Not that we're looking to run multiple Cluestones, but... So yeah, so at this point, I guess we could go in a couple different directions. We could go Gruul in pack 2, and then Selesnya in pack 3, or we could go Boros in pack 2. And wow, that's another Boros Mastiff, which I'm happy to take. This guy's perfectly fine. There's a Weapon Surge, but I like Boros Mastiff a lot. The fact that these guys are reeling, I think, is a good sign. It means that white's open, and I think we cut white reasonably well. I don't know if green was open. I didn't see a whole lot of green, so we might want to keep that in mind going into pack 3. But if we're base white, I think it should be fine. Yeah, so the green Gatekeeper did not wheel as predicted, but the white one did. It's pretty much what I assumed would happen. I think Matt Nass wrote a very good article that you should check out if you haven't seen it on Channel Fireball about how to draft this format. He kind of broke it down into like a plan A, B, and C, and I think his plan A was basically do a Gatecrash guild as your base guild for pack 2 and try to stick to 2 colors. So at this point, I think we're fairly well positioned to either go into Boros or Selesnya since we have white as our base. I guess Riot Control is not really that great, so maybe I just want to take Mind Static instead, actually. And Wake the Reflections versus Lay of Decree, neither of which are particularly playable, but I guess Lay of Decree is a little closer to being playable for us. And I guess I'll take the Riot Piker, although I really would prefer not to run him. Ooh, and we end on a foil. That's exciting. So I think the downside here is that we weren't able to pick up any Guild Gates in pack 1, which is very awkward. So we're going to have to keep an eye out for them in pack 2 here. Guild Gate that we don't really want to take, unfortunately. There's a Gift of Orzhova, there's a Slaughterhorn, and there's a Mugging. So at this point, I guess we need to ask, do we want to go the green route or the red route primarily? I didn't see a lot of green or red in pack 1, which is unfortunate, but red doesn't really go with anything in pack 3, so I'm leaning towards going green here. Maybe grabbing some Gruul cards and then Selesnya cards in the next pack. So I think I'll lean towards Slaughterhorn. Mugging is a fun card, but I want to set myself up to be able to play Selesnya in pack 2. Alright, well there's a Sacred Foundry, so I'm going to take this just because I think we'll need the fixing. Knight of Obligation is a great man, and I would like to take him here. We have no fixing at this point though, and I think we will be playing probably some red, I imagine, if we get some Boros cards in this pack. No real green to speak of. So yeah, Sacred Foundry it is. Skynet Legionnaire is fine. So I guess if we don't see Gruul, we can maybe just splash the green if we get some Selesnya Guild Gates in the next pack and play base red-white and then maybe a little bit of green for Unflinching Courage or something. I'm a big fan of Skynet Legionnaire though, so we'll snap him up. Interesting, so we could take Ember Beast or Homing Lightning. I think I'm leaning more towards Homing Lightning at this point just because we don't have any removal, and it would be nice to be able to answer some threats, and Homing Lightning does a lot. I like Ember Beast a ton, and he is easier to cast, and he works better with Unflinching Courage, but I think having some removal is probably what we want to do right now. And these packs have been bad. I could take the Zerichi Tiger. I have a feeling it's going to wheel. Could take the Aerial Maneuver. I don't know. All of these cards feel like they're probably just going to wheel. Don't really want to grab a Ruination Worm at this point. Despite the fact that we took a lot of white cards, and it seemed like some of the white cards we wanted to wield, we're not seeing much good white. This pack is pretty bad, though, if you look at it. There's a lot of junk here. I don't think we need another 3-drop artifact that fixes mana. So I guess I could just take the Tiger? No, I'll take the Trick. We don't have any tricks yet, so I guess taking one is fine. Alright, Pit Fight is okay. It is removal. We could take Righteous Charge. I think it would be fine in the deck that we have going so far. But Pit Fight is perfectly reasonable. Alright, this is a little more like it. So between Ember Beast and Warmind Infantry, I think Ember Beast is probably a stronger card. Warmind Infantry is good, but you have to trigger Battalion. Ember Beast only needs one other creature to be a solid guy. So we'll take the Ember Beast. Okay, I don't really want a Spire Tracer. I guess I'm just taking Aerial Maneuver. And yeah, we're kind of hurting for fixing at this point, since we haven't really seen any Guild Gates. We haven't seen any Boros ones yet. And we might need to grab a Selesnya one or two in the next pack. Alright, well, here's another Orzhov Guild Gate, which we don't really need. I guess I'm just going to take Bomber Core. And another Bomber Core. So far this has been pretty mediocre, but to be honest, I haven't really seen other options that have impressed me for cards that we could take. I think these packs have been pretty substandard overall. Hopefully pack 3 will be a little kinder to us. Well, I don't think we're going to run Immortal Servitude or Merfolk of the Depths, so I guess I'll take a Naturalized for the sideboard. And oh boy, Foundry Street Denizen wheeled. Probably not going to play him though. Alright, well I guess we're picking up Boros Kieran after all. So yeah, we saw essentially no Gruul that pack and very little Boros. Basically just got the Sky Knight, and that was kind of it. I don't really count the Bomber Cores. Pit Fight is fine, I guess. So, this is awkward. Feel like we might need to take the Selesnya Guild Gate, but we have like a Splatter Thug, and he's really good. There's a Chromatic Lantern here too. We have the 2 Clue Stones, so we can do those if we really have to. And I guess we're only at 12 creatures right now, so I'm probably just going to take the Thug. Yeah, I mean, like, we don't need to fix that much. Like, we probably don't even need to play Zertod Druid. And if we just splash for Unflinching Courage and cut the Slaughterhorn, I think that'll be fine. Alright, well, there's some awesome black cards in this pack. Thrill-Kill Assassin is nice. Not much for us. There's Swift Justice. I guess there is an Axebane Guardian, but we're not. I don't know if we're green is the problem, or how much green we're going to run. And it seems like we're fairly aggressive, so running an 0-3 Defender doesn't seem that great to me. Cryptborn Horror is just kind of like a weak card. It's probably just going to be like a 2-2 when we play it on turn 4 or something. Rakdos Shredfreak will probably table, and I don't really want it. Same deal with Concordia Pegasus. Yeah, this pack is pretty weak. I guess I'm just going to take Axebane Guardian in case a bunch of Selesnya cards come and I need to, I need more support playing more of a solid 3-color deck. Alright, so what are we looking at here? There's a Transguild Promenade if we want to do that. There's a Hollowed Fountain if I want a ticket or two. There's a Knightly Valor. The Knightly Valor, I guess, would fit well in our deck. I do like that Hollowed Fountain, though. Probably just going to be greedy and take that for tickets, but I guess the correct pick here is probably just the Knightly Valor. Could take Tower Ninja or Brush Strider, I suppose. Let's see, how are we doing on playables? Probably not going to play the Boros Kieran, so we need like 1 or 2 more. Yeah, I think we can afford to take the Hollowed Fountain. This deck is like not so amazing that I'm expecting to do really well with it, so whatever. I will pick up a few tickets while I can to mitigate the damage. Okay, this is more like it. I'm all about Splatter Thug, so I'll happily pick him up. Maybe Security Blockade will table, probably unlikely. Other than that, there's not much else in this pack that I want, so Splatter Thug it is. Well, Common Bond is definitely a compelling reason to have some green in my deck. It's quite nice. There's also a Keening Apparition. We have some 2-drops already. but they're not exciting. I mean, Keening Apparition is a solid card. Hide the Boris Kieran. Prefer not to have to run it. Yeah, I don't know. This is tough. The green that we have is fine. We just have no way to support it other than these clue stones. I do like Common Bond, though. I'm kind of leaning towards just taking it. Yep, Common Bond it is. Okay, so we could take Pursuit of Flight. Or actually, no, we're just taking Explosive Impact. What am I saying? I didn't even see that. So yeah, Courser's Accord is another consideration. It makes 2 3/3s, which is fine. We're not really doing anything with tokens, though, so I mean, I guess we do have this guy, so he could theoretically make another Centaur token, but that's not a reason to take this card. Explosive Impact is a perfectly fine finisher and decent removal spell, and we need both of those right now. Seek the Horizon and Druid's Deliverance, not really interested in. There is Ethereal Armor and Pursuit of Flight, and I guess we actually could play the Hollowed Fountain to potentially activate this, so maybe that's better. Ethereal Armor is fine too, I guess. Yeah, I'm just going to take the Ethereal Armor. I don't think playing one Hollowed Fountain is going to be a reliable enough way to make this consistently better than Ethereal Armor. Not that I think Ethereal Armor will be that great. So here we could take Tenement Crasher, which I think we might need to do. I don't really want to take Sundering Growth or Rootborn Defenses. We just don't have, for Rootborn Defenses, we just don't have really any tokens to populate. The trick is fine, but we have a couple other tricks we can use, like Common Bond. Tenement Crasher we might actually run. I don't know why this is tabling. That's a little sketchy. Electrickery, I don't know if we want that. Same deal with Courser's Accord. We already have a couple 6-drops. Could just counterdraft the Dead Reveler. Can't think of a deck where I'd want to run this in. Maybe, I guess, against a deck with a lot of like 1-power flyers, it might be decent. We have like Bomber Core though for that. Yeah, I'll just counterdraft the Dead Reveler. And let's see, do I want Gutter Snipe or Shred Freak? So we have a couple instants. No sorceries really. So I guess Shred Freak is probably better. I guess Gutter Snipe is easier to cast though, but we have a lot of 3-drops. I'll take the Shred Freak. And I guess Bush Strider versus Rootborn Defense. Sure, Bush Strider. So yeah, this draft was a little disappointing. We saw some good black cards, so maybe I was supposed to be in black, but I don't know. I didn't see a great reason to be in black in Pack 1. So the fact that there's some good black in Pack 2 seems a little irrelevant. Alright, yeah, we're running these, I guess. Probably not that. We'll run one aerial maneuver, I think. And hopefully we don't have to run the Sunspire Gatekeepers. I don't know about the Riot Piker, that's another iffy one. Yeah, another question is how much green are we running? Probably a decent amount. So we want at least one clue stone, I would guess. So if we do this by color, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5-ish green cards. So we probably want like 6 green sources total. So this is not correct. We don't need any black. So I guess I would do this. So 5-ish green sources. I guess we'll have to make do. Our mana's pretty bad. Let's see, we have 16 creatures. I could take something out and just run a 2nd clue stone just to maybe smooth out the mana a bit. If I did that, what would I take out? Probably something like Tenement Crasher. Oh, yeah, these things are super awkward when we have like an aggressive deck. Nah, I'm just going to run it. I guess the Zertod Druid provides a green, although he only does that once we already have a green, which is unhelpful. Yeah, this deck seems pretty bad. Bomber Core, I guess, is maybe a little substandard, just as a card. You could take that out and run another Clue Stone. No, I think this is fine. I'll just submit this and go to game one.